Oh, Leo. Oh, guys, hey. What up? Just catching up on a little homework there. Well, thanks for coming back to some more hot, fresh popcorn, where we talk about movies old and new and how they had an impact on me and maybe you too. See what I did there? So this week's movie is the 1987 film RoboCop. Directed by Paul Verhoeven and made by Orion Studios. Starring Peter Weller. One of the really cool things, first off, about this movie, it was filmed here where I lived in Dallas. They used it as like a futuristic Detroit. They made things a little different with the buildings, but there's a ton of different landmarks in this movie that you can see that are all still here in Dallas to this day. As soon as this movie starts off, it's one of those other ones. It's like you see the city and then just boom, the title, RoboCop. This is another one of those ones that it got me. It definitely was hugely influential on me as a kid. Not in the same ways as some of the other movies I've been talking about. This one messed me up. I love it. And it was awesome at the time, but man, it traumatized me as a kid. It had more to it than what I'd seen on the previews. You know, I'd seen the poster of the movie, which was this RoboCop looking guy who looked awesome. He was like, yeah, robot cop. And then I'd seen some trailers, him, you know, saying, dead or alive, you're coming with me. But I had no idea what I was getting to when I was watching this movie. So it starts out showing all these fake commercials and all these fake ads and all this stuff about OCP, which is a company that they focus hugely on in this movie, showing Dick Jones, who is our main villain, but he's played by Ronnie Cox. It's a huge social commentary on just the way people are right in society, and it predicted a lot of stuff. Paul Verhoeven was kind of like that. You know, he did Starship Troopers, did Showgirls, did Total Recall, Basic Instinct. He's really kind of all over the place. I wouldn't say he's the best action director, and it shows in this film in a lot of places when you see RoboCop doing certain things. The action just moves kind of slow, doesn't keep you involved like a lot of action directors at the time were really doing and were capable of doing. And they're definitely depicting how Detroit at the time is in peril. The crime is through the roof. They're losing cops because they don't have enough police force, but they're losing cops daily.
Funeral's tomorrow.
You see Clarence, our villain, early on in the movie, who's played by Kurtwood Smith, who's Red Foreman from that 70s show, The Great Red Foreman. While being a totally different character in this, he does have some similarities as being kind of a smart ass. They're depicting him and his gang off the bat, how they're just a motley crew. They fly by the seat of their pants. They don't play by any rules. They're very anarchy driven. He's the same way with them, within the group. It shows them always running amok and just messing up things, just creating this warpath everywhere they go. It's definitely a little fictional in the sense that these guys can get away with so much, but again, they are saying there's not enough cops and there's way too much crime happening in the city. And OCP is this company that's trying to make better law enforcement. They're trying to make upgrades in the system, and in this case, they're trying to make kind of robotic systems. And they had this whole scene with Dick Jones and Bobby Morton, played by Miguel Ferrer, which that guy is awesome. He always plays the same type of character. It's always just kind of this douchebag. And he actually is George Clooney's cousin. A lot of people don't know that. He actually doesn't play a villain in this, but he's also not a good guy. He's not the bad guy or one of the bad guys, but he's not a good person. He plays somebody that's like a young hotshot trying to take over this company, OCP, and Dick Jones is kind of currently running it a little bit, or he's in charge. And Bobby Morton is trying to take over. And this Ed 209 demonstration happens, and they have this guy, Kenny, who just gets the blunt of it. And right there, I was already like, oh man. They killed Kenny before South Park, which I wonder if there was some sort of inspiration there from Trey Parker or Matt Stone, because I guarantee you they love RoboCop. But man, when they kill Kenny, yeah, they just rip him to shreds with bullets. It gets a malfunction of Ed 209, it doesn't work properly, and they're all freaking out. Even the main boss, he's like, I'm very disappointed.
I'm very disappointed.
It's very clear from there that OCP is not really in the business to make better law enforcement. They're actually in the business to just make money. But they are showing the police force trying to do their thing, and they even introduce you to Peter Weller's character. He's this cop. He's talking about his kid a little bit. He's referring to this character called TJ Laser. And you get introduced to Lois, which is a female cop in this, who's also one of the other main characters. She's kind of like the co-star. They kind of get paired up in the beginning. They're having the scene where Clarence is with the motley crew, with the gang, and they're running amok and causing some trouble. And Murphy and Lois just take the call, and they go on it, and they start chasing them down. There's this great scene where he's like, can you fly, Bobby?
Can you fly, Bobby?
They end up at this old beat down warehouse, which is where all of it goes down. Man, You all know what I'm talking about. They basically get overrun by Clarence's crew, and Murphy gets held up by the guys, and Clarence comes in there. I had put it together. He's gonna get messed up somehow, he's gonna get hurt, and they're gonna make him RoboCop. I had no idea it was gonna be what I saw. But I'm watching it, you know, and I'm just like, of course, you know, they're gonna shoot him up. Yeah, they're gonna shoot him up. No, yeah, they're gonna shoot him up. Look, I'm watching, they're gonna shoot him up. Then Clarence comes in. Oh, yeah, oh, and he has the shotgun. No, you're not gonna do that. He's not gonna do that, Clarence. You're not gonna. No, Clarence. No, Clarence. It was terrifying. Then they blow his arm off. And then he gets shot up like crazy and he's screaming. I was like, oh my God, who could do this to somebody? Why would anybody do that? No, stop, somebody stop me. Why are you all in on it? Y'all are all doing it too? No. I mean, I just couldn't fathom why that could happen, would happen, should happen, any of it. It truly got to me. It actually sort of baptized me for what was to come for my future love of horror film and just any sort of stuff like that, special effects in general in film. And these effects are awesome. And then when they shoot him, I was just like, oh my God, what do you mean? I mean, at that point, I didn't know you could get shot in the head and live. They take him to the hospital and you're seeing him being recuperated. You know, there's a little dramatic scene with the hospital and the doctors. Then you're getting to see him sort of come to life and be built through the eyes of Murphy, or at this point, RoboCop. See, in the weeks and days pass, the seasons pass, birthday celebrations happen, and they're showing like robotic arm parts and that they're making on the side. They do this really awesome scene where they're rising him up and he's getting up and you're still through his eyes a little bit. He walks by this monitor and you just see a glimpse of him real quick. Awesome. It gave me chills as a kid. Still gave me chills now. Then you're hearing the awesome electric boots to the sound that it was awesome. I mean, as a kid, I loved it. Walking behind the glass at the police force real quick and people are hearing him and they're looking. It's like you could hear his boots throughout the entire building. And then you see him in the gun range. This girl's running and people were like, what's going on? And she's like, it's SuperCop.
It's SuperCop.
And I just loved it. I thought it was funny. It's like, his name's not SuperCop, it's RoboCop. The gun's firing in the gun range and everything and they're bow, bow, bow. And then all of a sudden you see his gun sticking further out of the other guns in the gun range. And it's like, it looks like a Desert Eagle, but it's firing, it's like, brr, brr. And then they show him just put the gun and it goes right back into his leg. Oh, just as a kid, I was just like, yes. So I was over my traumatization at that point. I definitely was in the hype and the superhero feel of it. I was like, yes, this is amazing. He was doing his thing. He was in, and you could hear the music starting to pump up, and then finally he's like, I need a car. He catches the keys.
Thank you. Sure.
But even then, to this day, I have to admit, don't get me wrong, it's still awesome and it's still nostalgic as hell for me and I love it, but it doesn't quite hold up as much as I thought it would. I don't know if Paul Verhoeven is built for action. It's got some scenes that the action just moves slow and it makes you feel like, all right, that's a little cheesy. It's not going to hold up action-wise, I don't think. You get to see this crime compilation of him just stopping crime left and right, kind of like they did at the beginning of the Sam Raimi Spider-Man movie. Just going through it, doing his thing. He's kind of remembering some stuff in and out. He's kind of having these memories of when Clarence shot him and he maybe memories of his son, memories of his family. There's that one awesome scene that I know everybody remembers where he comes up on those two dudes that are like messing with that girl and they're hitting her. It looks like they're going to rape her. And then RoboCop pulls up and he's pointing that gun at him and the guy pulls that one girl up and he's holding her and she's doing all this and he shoots right through the girl's dress. And I remember as a kid, everybody's like, what are you doing? And then he drops her and she's okay and the guy's just like, ah! 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 We were all like, oh no, getting shot in the... That would have been terrible. And then you got that awesome other scene where he goes and they have that hostage situation where it's like this CEO or something that's just like finally snapped and he's asking for ridiculous stuff. The guy's being way over the top.
I'm a desperate man. And second,
I want some fresh coffee. And third, I want a recount. And no matter how it turns out, I want my old job back. And I want a new car. And I want the city to pay for it all.
What kind of car, Miller?
Something with reclining leather seats that goes really fast and gets really shitty gas mileage.
Then, of course, RoboCop shows up and the SWAT's like, who the hell are you?
Where the hell do you think you're going?
He grabs the guy who's holding everybody hostage just straight through the wall. Awesome compilation they did of him stopping crime as RoboCop. They have this hilarious commercial where they're making fun of the Battleship game, but it's showing this family playing, but instead of it called Battleship, it's called Nukem.
Red alert. Red alert. Red alert.
You crossed my line of death.
You haven't dismantled your MX stockpile.
Pakistan is threatening my border.
That's it, Buster. No more military aid.
Nuke 'em. Get them before they get you. Another quality home game from Butler Brothers.
Hilarious. OCP's on the news. They were promoting RoboCop like left and right. They're just really proud of the success he's having. There's the convenience store scene where the guy comes in there and he's just going to kill all these people and try to rob their safe. And they're watching the TV and they go back to this line multiple times in the movie.
I'd buy that for $1.
And they go back to it multiple times throughout the film. One of the villains is watching it at one time. It became a one-liner of the movie that's not really by any character. It's on something they're watching in the movie. Where the true conflict of the film starts really coming in is where basically RoboCop, he's starting to have a conscience basically because he's having memories. He's realizing that something's off. The battle begins between Bobby Morton and Dick Jones because they have this bathroom scene where Bobby Morton's talking to some other guy and he's talking all this trash about Dick Jones and Dick Jones is in the stall and comes out and basically they have some words. You get to see Bobby Morton in his hotel room and it shows him with these two girls and then we see Clarence just bust in there. He shoots Bobby all up in the legs and the knees and I just remembered it's a kid just being like, oh! He has to go back to the police station all the time and get these checkups, basically get rebooted. And he's having the memory flashbacks while he's being rebooted again. And they're seeing it on the TV screens, his exact memories. And then he starts to overcome it and he breaks loose and he starts to go rogue. And now they can't really track it. He remembers everything basically. He goes to this club and he finds this henchman that you see that he's one of Clarence's henchmen. And I love this scene too because he grabs him and the gun flies through the air. And this one guy's dancing and he's just all... But they have that shootout scene that's really awesome, and then RoboCop breaks down the door, and he comes in and does the whole it's great, you know. And as a kid, I thought it was awesome. He's like shooting over like this and everything, and he's shooting like that, and he's just, again, doesn't quite hold up like I remember it. He ends up getting fully torn up by the cops. He has to roll and hide, and Lois helps him escape, and she finds him, and she realizes what's going on. She kind of nurses him back to health. He has the cool helmet reveal scene where he takes it off, and that special makeup effects right there is awesome. That is amazing. Still to this day looks fantastic. And she helps him kind of gain his senses back because he's off. And of course, he fixes himself up. It shows that. Oh, and before that, when he went to try to go stop Dick Jones, he put Ed 209 on him. 209 is trying to walk down the stairs. It realizes it can't and it falls down and it's like squirming in the air, making this weird animal noise. He ends up going back to that same warehouse to get Clarence and the crew, and then there's that one scene where that dude gets rammed into that vat of toxic waste or acid, and then he comes out and he's all... His fingers are all hanging off, and it's just drooping, he's melting, and then Clarence comes by with the car and just rams him and just... splats him, just pulverizes him. Shit. Oh my God! RoboCop and Lois proceed to break through the warehouse and get him one by one. Ended up in this huge water-like pit area. One of the henchmen's up at the top. He drops all this metal on top of RoboCop and Lois gets shot up. But then she shoots the guy in the top of the crane with the assault cannon. Clarence comes over and stabs RoboCop into the pipe and the middle finger spike comes out of RoboCop's hand and he... Clarence right in the neck and all this blood splatter just...
Cop.
RoboCop shows up to the building, blows away Ed 209 with the assault cannon, and that's cool because there's this one scene where you see the legs. And he goes up to the top of the building to kill Dick Jones, but he still can't kill him because he's programmed not to. And he takes the main guy, his boss, hotches up against the window, and finally he fires him. You're fired.
Dick, you're fired!
And then RoboCop does the whole, thank you.
Thank you.
Shoots him, he flies out of the window, and it is fake as hell. Just like Die Hard was fake, Batman, it was fake. In the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, it was fake. But then the movie's over. It just ends right there. It's
Murphy.
boom. And you hear the music when the credits start going up, and there you go. I kind of like it when movies end like that. Yeah, but RoboCop, still a great movie. Still love it. It still holds up pretty good. Not quite as much as I remember it. I'd say it's more like a B- than an A+ that I remember it. But thanks as always for watching this, guys. Check out BrassReel Brothers on Facebook, and you can find me on Twitter, BrassReel Bobby at BrassReel. And please remember to click the like button and subscribe if you like what you're seeing here. It definitely helps us out a lot. And if life gives you lemons, make some hot, fresh popcorn. We'll see you next time.
I'd buy that for $1.